Hello everyone and welcome to another video. It's me, Umber and well, of course it is, because who else would be doing on this channel? Anyway, I am here, I've just been having such a great time with a few other things lately. I've been busy outside in the real world and of course with the real job, but I was trying to put this off for a couple of reasons. One, I was kind of hoping that there would be some animations uploaded, but the JP side is definitely missing people who are doing those kind of uploads lately, which is too bad because, honestly, the animations and the artwork are some of the things I really quite love, even nowadays, about Brave Exvius. So it's a little sad to not see them, and as such, I'm just going to use the same art from last time, but you know what, let's get rid of those two, because I've already made that comparison. Anywho, let's talk about Sakura and Nichol, because the 3-star and the 4-star we've already talked about, and there's nothing much else to talk about with them. But the 5 stars are always the point of interest, seeing how people might be looking for the higher quality characters, and since both of these are Summon Fest characters, I think a lot of people were expecting these characters to be really, really good, and it turns out not so much. Both for a couple of reasons that I will get into here, but starting off with Sakura, because Sakura is the most disappointing of all. And let me put that in context, because when original Sakura came out, she was easily one of my favorite mages. I used her a lot for a lot of battles. Her enhancements were great, but the thing that made Sakura so great was she was a mage with a lot of utility. I mean, yeah, she was a chain finisher. She was basically a main major type of magic damage dealing, thunder magic. But now we get a new version of Sakura who is essentially the opposite direction. This is basically almost a carbon copy of Regina, except in the direction of magic as opposed to physical attack. And the problem is that, well, her kit is only based around thunder damage, where Regina had no element. And let me tell you something, no element is always more valuable than a single element, and especially a single element blocked. But let's talk about her kit. First of all, her stat-wise, she has a pretty good amount of HP, nice amount of MP. Her defense is definitely not great. Her spirit's okay, but her magic, base 220 with an extra 65 points put in, pretty damn nice. Pretty damn sparkly for a mage, especially a mage who is primarily for dealing damage. Equipment, nothing special here, but wasn't expecting much from her sprite, who's basically wearing almost nothing, so there you go. Looking at her limit burst, it is a lightning-based magic damage attack with an 18.5 time, or 18 times, sorry, there's no 0.5. It ignores 0.5 of the enemy's spirit, so 50% of the enemy's spirit. Decreases attack, defense, magic, and spirit 100% for 5 turns to the caster. So there's a big debuff for using this ability, much in the same way that when you use Regina. Even the same kind of incredibly expensive limit burst. And let me tell you, the other thing that's kind of surprising is her lack of passives. I mean, she is essentially a true dual-hand mage. She gets extra magic, spirit, 7% MP recovery per turn, some lightning, light, and dark resistance, her paralyze and petrify immune. Equipping her TMR or super TMR gives her a chance to ignore a fatal attack when her HP is above 1%. Some true dual-hand magic. Stop resistance, so she does have some extra nice things, but looking at her kit almost reads very, very, very much like Regina, of being, using abilities to upgrade her limit burst damage and upgrade her main lightning-based damage attack. She also has some ways to debuff the lightning element and whatnot. She has an increase for some resistance for multiple turns. Most of her abilities, though, are only beneficial for her, and her killers that she has in her kit that are optional: Beast, Aquatic, or Reaper. Aquatic and Beast, so exciting. Reaper's probably her best one, but I'm not entirely sure how amazing that absolutely is. Yeah. She has a cure ability to get rid of her debuffs, which she could use on the following turn after using her limit burst. Other than that, her Two cooldowns that are worth mentioning are for available turn 1, increase or decrease lightning resistance 120% for 2 turns to an enemy, increase in magic 250% for 2 turns to the caster, increase limit burst gauge 25, with 4 other abilities gives her a limit burst, or 3 other abilities gives her a limit burst. Let's math, people! Increase modifier for her lightning attacks. And her other cooldown, 4-turn cooldown, available turn 1, mitigate damage taken 75% for 2 turns to the caster, 25 limit burst crystals, a 10 times mod, blah, 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 blah. So her kit works basically essentially like Regina, except it is hard fixed to lightning, and that is why I just don't recommend Sakura at all. Old Sakura at least had some light and dark options in her kit. This one essentially is lightning, and that's it. While she does have some good survivability options for her, I just don't like her kit at all. I don't think it's worth enough if you consider other units like Madame or just other mages. This is just not good enough at this point. Can't recommend her, don't recommend her. And just losing all of her utility, this feels kind of like a backwards unit for where the JP side is right now, just because this feels like almost carbon copy Regina, just magic on the other side with a fixed element, and nothing about that's better. Now, as for the other character, Nichol. What can I say about Nichol? Well, Nichol still falls short compared to Elfim in terms of a buffer breaker. Really, the gold standard still on the JP side is kind of just Luca, Sweet Luca, or Elfim, the person I was just talking about. Because Elfim has this thing where she recasts buffs every turn, so even if they get dispelled, they are just right there and back, and that is not how Nichol works. Basically, any buffer or debuffer that doesn't have this from now on is kind of just inferior. Elfim also has a way to put an element on different attackers, and that is incredibly valuable as well. Looking at Nichol's kit, he has a good amount of HP. Defense is not so great. Spirit is good. Magic is and he doesn't really specialize in any of the stats, which is less than exciting. Other than that, he is part of the AR chaining family, as well as, I believe, Flood. So those are his 2 chaining families, but I feel like his chaining damage is just not exciting. I would rather that he was a more specialized buffer, debuffer, rather than having water and ice AR chaining, which is I'm just thinking here, might be a little bit difficult to find a partner other than maybe Axe Star or someone with a water weapon and physical AR chaining. Just not sure it's really what he needed in his kit. His limit burst 7-star maxed out is increase all stats 200% for 5 turns to all allies. Mitigate damage taken 50% for 5 turns to all allies. And that is pretty good. The limit burst is a little expensive at 42 crystals. And a 200% stat boost, I mean, the big thing here is it's combined with damage mitigation, so it's a pretty good attack for surviving heavy damage. He has Flood, as well as a water stacking magic damage, water jar, whatever it is. Passive-wise, he gets extra magic for equipping a rod. Again, would prefer it if he was more focused on surviving rather than that. 7% MP recovery per turn, some natural water resistance, of course, 5% extra MP. I don't know why they just don't add it together in one ability, but okay. Spirit and MP with a robe. He has some ice resistance, dark resistance, charm resistance as well. He has, with a TMR or super TMR, extra defense spirit, HP, resistance to disease, as well as Esper bonus stat of 50%. That's probably the really nice thing, is Espers just get hopefully stronger in the future. But he does have AR chaining. The problem here is that while they do debuff for ice and water, the modifier is so low on them it's not super exciting. He can recover 65 MP to all allies. He has some mitigate damage abilities with either ice or water, or light or dark. Again, okay. He has a way to increase all stats to all allies 150%. for 3 turns, and that is always accessible to him, so that's pretty nice. Also increases the limit burst fill gauge rate, mitigate damage and heal split over multiple turns, double casting, add water element to an ally, a 6-turn cooldown, available turn 1, mitigate damage 50% for 3 turns to all allies, increase ice, water, light, dark resistance 100%. That's pretty nice, since light and dark is super good, but on a 6-turn cooldown only for 3 turns? 6-turn cooldown, available turn 1. Decrease attack and magic 70% for 3 turns to all enemies. Increase stats 180% for 3 turns to all allies. Increase evocation guide and give a couple of abilities, which are just some elemental resistance, as well as a restore 50% HP to all allies, grant HP barrier, increase limit gauge, which are good. Nothing wrong, and he gets those for 4 turns. It's just there's a couple turns with some downtime. And he has a 4-turn, available turn 1. Remove stop, gives recover 200 MP to all allies, cure stop on all allies, and give resistance to stop. I think I double said that. Increase limit burst gauge of 10 to all allies. I have to say that Nichol is pretty good. I don't hate Nichol's kit by any means. I think he is a really good buffer. He has pretty good stats. He has pretty nice comprehensive kit in terms of buffing everybody as well as damage mitigation. But for a fest unit, he does feel, him and Sakura feel a little bit low quality for the amount of money that you might have to put in getting them. And especially because off banners are a thing that really suck. There is a step up, 25k Lapis 5 steps, where you're guaranteed one of these 2 units at the end, but given how bad I feel Sakura is, I just don't feel like she's worth it at all. Too specialized and not good enough in an age where a lot of units are becoming a lot more general. Nichol, definitely better of the 2, but kind of falls short still when compared to Elfim. Elfim just kind of broke the mold and is just way too good because of recastable buffs and debuffs, as well as elemental imbuing and not focusing on damage where she just isn't specialized. There is also the special box. There are 25 items in the box. You have a chance of getting Sakura or Nichol, but I just don't feel that this one's worth the resources that you might have to put in spending on either of these units. So, yeah, Sakura, easy, very easy pass. And as for Nichol, not bad, but there's a UOC-able unit that's way better. So, I'd take that over this. Anyway, that's all for this video. Hope you guys are doing well, and I'll see you next time. I gotta go get ready for a stream. Take care.